My Zoom crashed again, so I can't let people in.
I can.
Yeah, I'm sitting in a waiting room.
Tomorrow.
Looking.
I can't see you because my crashed.
Oh,
Wait. I can see you now. Came back.
Oh, there we go. Thank you.
I don't think I have a password for that, but
Just your login for your computer.
Brenda, can you just shut your mic off? Please. Okay, we're good? Barton's up and running?
Just waiting to be let in.
Kate, you should be joining.
You're in. Okay, we'll call the regular meeting of council to order for 3 p.m. Ask for a motion from Councillor Smith that council adopt the agenda for the regular council meeting April 25th as amended to include item 6.5, the Volunteer of the Year Award recipients.
I so move, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And now, just so that you know, Jamie Kinghorn is in the meeting on Zoom. So his attendance level is still 100%, I think. Okay, consent agenda approvals. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk that the following are adopted by omnibus motion in accordance with council's procedure bylaw. April 11th regular minutes, April 11th special minutes, and the strategic priorities chart.
I'd be happy to make that motion for you, Mr. Mayor, but I just have a maybe an amendment to the minutes. Item 6.5 on the columbarium, that we had a recorded vote and the vote was 1-0. If you want to scroll into those minutes, and
Was there a recorded vote? Because
I don't recall anybody requesting a recorded vote, and a vote of 1-0 would not be a vote.
Would not be that.
in this chambers anyway. So just a correction to those minutes.
You got that, Karen? Okay, we'll make sure that's corrected. Thanks, Michael.
You are welcome. So I'll give you that motion with that correction, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Anything else? All in favor? Carried. Any public comments, Jody? Al, you got anything? Thank you. So we'll go into the first delegation from Community Futures Highwood. Now, the issue with this delegation is that Mr. Brander will not be able to hear the delegation because the delegation is on Zoom. Trying to think of how I can do this. We'll try something. Cross your fingers, Al.
Okay.
Hi, Ursula. You're on mute. The floor is yours, so I'll just hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me. I was wondering if Kieran can run the PowerPoint that I had sent in, or I can do it if you want me to.
Hi, I don't have it open, so if you could share that, that would be great. If not, I can pull it up quickly.
Okay, give me one moment. I can share it, I'm sure. There we go. Hoping this is the right one here. There we go. Okay, can everyone see that? Hello? Okay, I think everyone is frozen.
No, I can see it.
Okay. I have everybody else frozen and I don't seem to be able to do anything with my screen right now. Okay, well, let's try it anyways. I'll give it my best here. So basically, I am here to present on community futures and our project, our programs and services. Now I got it going here again. I can actually see you all again. And I've been with Community Futures since 2015, and it's my first year as the executive director. So I've been around the block here a couple of times. So Community Futures, I just wanted to give a quick overview of who we are, what we provide, so that you're aware of us, for those who don't know about us. We are a nonprofit that is federally funded through the government, and we are in place to support and assist entrepreneurs with business solutions. So that's a very broad description of what we do, and I'll go into a little bit more detail as I go along. So our service region encompasses basically all of Foothills County as well as Vulcan County, and a little bit of the MD of Willow Creek, just the area around Nanton, obviously to the west there. And our board is put together out of 2 representatives from each of our shareholder regions, and High River, of course, is one of them. And our council representative is Councillor Walsh, and our member at large is Tom Sales. So we have a very, very large board. If everybody's there, we have 18 people on the board. Half of them, all the members at large, are the ones that actually decide on more sensitive matters like loan decisions. We purposely kept the councillors out of that to create an arm's length scenario. Here's what we offer. We have generalized client services. We have loans. We actually offer loans. We participate in community economic development programs and sometimes actually initiate them, and we offer strategic planning. So a little bit more on the client services. So all services that we offer are free of charge since we're a nonprofit. And these services range anywhere from idea consultation. So if you know somebody who has a business idea, doesn't know where to go from there, please send them our way. We would love to sit down with them, help them figure out what the next steps are, to putting together a business plan for financing, which doesn't have to be through us. It could be through a traditional lender, and also a little bit of business coaching. And a little bit about our loans, since I mentioned that we are a lender. We are what we call a developmental lender. So we actually have to have a turn down from a traditional lender, aka a bank or a BDC, to assist our clients. And a lot of startup businesses fall into that category. So banks won't look at them for the first 2 years usually, and unless the people have a lot of money, and then they don't need a loan. So we loan up to 150,000, and have a few conditions, as I mentioned there. You should all be receiving, if you haven't already, a summary where I have put everything that I'm talking about on a 2-pager for you to quickly check over if you ever want to refer back to things. And these things, the conditions are on there as well. And obviously, since we are federally funded, they can't owe anything to CRA, and in general, it's a good business practice to make sure people are up to snuff with CRA. Okay, other than that, one thing that I would really like to mention to you as council is something that we call the Community Business Initiative Loan, and that is actually a collaborative effort with council and or the municipality, I should say, as well as business owners and ourselves. And when I say business owners, I mean especially business owners who also own the building that they are operating out of. So if you have, and I know obviously High River went through a big revitalization downtown and all that, but if you have other business areas where you want to do some revitalization, something of that type, then this might be a good project to consider. And the way it works is that often municipalities can get grants for these kinds of initiatives, but they're rarely enough to cover everything. Plus you're running into the potential issue that when you have private land or building owners, then obviously you can't just support them in that, in like updating their building. So what we are offering is a loan that the business owner or the landowners or building owners have access to. the grant that the municipality gets could pay for the interest that they have. The owners still have to pay back the actual loan amount. And it's really a win-win-win situation. The town can do what they want to do. The money that you get lasts a little bit further. The owners of the buildings get to update their buildings with basically an interest-free loan, which is obviously not usually available. And of course, we also win because we get some clients, which is definitely something we like to do. So an initiative that might be of interest to you down the road. And I just wanted to give you an idea. Now, these numbers are as of March 31st. Last year, we just have our year end. We're just putting the numbers together for this year. And we will be putting out an annual report, and Councillor Walsh is more than free to share that with you. And also we have it on our website, all of the reporting, so you can see that as well. But just to give you an idea of the loan portfolio, I actually just did it again, and it's gone down a little bit. It's sitting around 9.2. We have about 16 loans from High River right now. We had some payout. And talking about economic development, so we run several projects, mostly in collaboration with other groups. This is one here, the first one, the Entrepreneurs with Disabilities program, that has been running for many, many years and is a Community Futures internal initiative. And basically it means any entrepreneur who has any kind of challenges, I personally don't like the word disabilities, but any kind of challenges, they can come to us, self-identify, we don't need a doctor's note or anything, and say they need extra support. So whether that is, like I said, specially trained business coaches, can be around financing, it can be around creating a business plan, it can be about actually executing that business plan. So the first few days, weeks in business, that kind of thing. So it's a wonderful program, and they get a preferred interest rate. And then we have our news flagship program here, which is the Digital Service Squad program. This is part of the digital economy program that the government of Alberta put out. So we were able to apply for a grant under that program, and I've hired an extra staff person as well. And they will go out and have already gone out into the communities and work with any business owners who want to update, get an assessment on, or generally create their digital media presence. So that can be anything from website to social media, all of those things. And also under this program, business owners are eligible for a free website that will be built for them through Google My Business. So that's not directly through us, but we also have access to Google My Business, and they will actually build a free website for people, which is usually anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000 if people get it built. In terms of value. Then we have the Smart Start program, and council approved a contribution to that program, a financial contribution. And we were going to start it in March, but didn't have enough people interested. So we delayed the start to September. Actually, the start will be in October. The application deadline is now the end of September, September 25th to be exact. It's an 8-month incubation program. We ran it as a pilot last year in Okotoks and got very good reviews from it. And basically want to offer it to our entire service region and have everybody from the service region on board. I'm super excited about this. And with this program, entrepreneurs get free online learning, free workshops provided by regional experts, and then also they get free mentoring. Now, when I say free, it's not quite true. They get that under the program. There is a cost for the entrepreneurs. It's $350, so less than $50 a month. It's an 8-month program. So the aim of the program, obviously, is to get entrepreneurs really well versed at what they're doing, give them the resources and the knowledge to succeed in business. Statistically speaking, the first 3 years in business are the hardest and the ones when most businesses fail. So this program targets anybody in the first 3 years of business, as well as in the idea stage. And the other thing is that we also want to create a regional network. So that's why we ask that the presenters and workshop presenters are actually from the region, so that people have people in the region, like entrepreneurs have people in the region that they can reach out to should they have questions, do they need answers, and they don't have to go to Calgary or wherever else. And then we have Rotary Alberta Youth Entrepreneurship Camp. This has been running for a very long time and is finally running again this year. Of course, it was not running the last 2 years. Last year, they tried a digital version and that was okay, but this year will be on in person again. It's a camp for 13 to 15-year-olds, and they actually get put through the paces to understand how to put a business together. And then at the end of the camp, the last day, they have a little farmer's market and family and friends come down and hopefully purchase a little bit. And they usually walk away with a little bit of pocket money from their endeavors. So, which is great. And last but not least, we offer strategic planning facilitation to all kinds of organizations, anything from nonprofits to for-profit businesses. And we have decided to make that a fee-for-service offering since we also have to be entrepreneurial ourselves. And that is a way to get a hold of us. So that was basically it. I'm wondering whether there are any questions.
Thanks, Ursula. Questions from council? Councillor Walsh? I think I need you to turn your mic on your, probably on your cord. No, on here, Brenda. There's a little switch.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass.
There you go.
There we are. What is the fee involved with the strategic planning opportunity?
That depends on whether it's a nonprofit, whether it's a for-profit, and for how long. For a nonprofit, for a day is around $1,200.
Mm-hmm. And the business?
Around, I believe, $1,400 or $1,500. I would have to look it up right now. Don't quote me on that.
Thank you.
Ursula, could you just go back one slide to your contact page? We'll just have that one up so that people that are watching live can see that. Any other questions from councillors? So what was the reason for the Smart Start delay? Just lack of uptake, is that right, Ursula?
Yeah, we had 3 applications, and quite frankly, mostly my fault. We were a little bit late getting the advertising out. I was trying to get buy-in from everybody. By the time we had it all formalized, there wasn't much time anymore to advertise. So we wanted to have a longer window to really get the word out, let people know. And then on top of that, it was the kind of beginning of the new year and, you know, just coming out of COVID and restrictions and stuff. We wanted to give businesses a bit longer to recuperate from the last 2 years, and
right.
as possible, just, you know, give them a better chance at starting.
Sure. And you said that's an 8-month program that about $50 a month is what it
Yeah,
works
not
out
even.
to.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it will start October 19th and will end in June of 2023.
No other questions from council, so we'll let you go. Thanks very much, Ursula.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thanks for doing this. Jody, the next one we will let in.
Yes, I just let them in.
Did you? Okay. No, there's Elizabeth. Okay. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello,
There you are.
thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I think we're all ready to go and you can go ahead with your presentation.
Well, my presentation is gonna be a little bit verbal because the video that I got is about the Day of the Dead, and it's a resume or a collection of what had been doing here at the town, and how we are planning to use the logo in all our creations for virtual promotion. So, well, I'm going to start. Thank you.
Liz, we didn't hear nothing. You were saying something?
We just wanted to make sure that you shared your sound if there is sound for the video.
Well, I can start explaining something. My name is Gina Angel. I'm part of the society. I'm a child psychologist, and also we are helping with the mental health service. We are offering that in High River too. So the main purpose of this presentation and all the pictures is because we would like to share with you the importance to still sharing the culture, and not just the Mexican culture, all the cultures that High River has. And also, that's me, and also because we normally are helping a lot of business in High River, and also some people who just arrived. And these kind of people are trying to adapting to the new community and how they can learn from of government there. It's important also to us to help them, because normally societies, to help them, they need to ask for some money or for some resources from there. So our most goal there, or most important goal there, is to help them before they can help us as a society, because some business were affected very, very bad during the COVID, and right now because the economy is not the best. So right now we would like to start a video kind of commercial or advertisement or some kind of support. So in this way, this business can be helped and can have more clients around High River, can have more projection, not just in High River, some other little towns around Foothills, and also Calgary. So our main purpose right now is to have your support as government of the municipality of High River to try to still helping this kind of business. Liz, the society, and Psychology and Active as a mental health support, we are trying to help them to have a better quality of business, the environment, and also we really want to make them feel somebody's here without any, without asking money, because that's the goal for us. Help them emotionally, economically, because we want to support them with the business, and also helping them with how they can share their culture, because sometimes they are from another country like Mexico, from El Salvador, Colombia, Philippines, and they don't feel that support. Sometimes they are not speaking English very well, because we still learning this beautiful language, and sometimes they don't feel they can ask for help because they don't understand the language. So that is one of our most goal there here. And I don't know, Liz, if you want to add more information.
Thank you, Gina. Well, we have been promoting art and culture and supporting the Mexican community here in High River and the foothills for 11 years. Now our government, Mexican government, is recognizing the job that we have been doing here in the community. And this past September, they give us the opportunity to be part of the global forums from Mexico and represent Mexico and the Mexicans in Alberta and Saskatchewan. So open this opportunity to project High River global in the global forum is open a lot of windows. I had been talking with Irene at the Museum of the Highwood, and in her records, she had been seeing visitors from all around the world. And when we are asking to them how they listen about us, they are referring about our virtual celebrations or videos or postings that we had been sharing. So in the past Day of the Dead in November, we have visitors from Italy and visitors from Mexico, exchange students, and all of them refer to the videos that we were posting. So I'm part as well to the entrepreneurs, women around the world from Mexico. And we have a specific group. So as a leader, I'm posting what I'm doing here, how I'm supporting the local Mexican vendors and vendors inside our community. So High River has the projection all around the world already. So we did as well with the Rotary Club and the money, collecting money from the community. And we support 3 states in Mexico in the past earthquake. So I think the High River had a lot of projection, and unfortunately, because the pandemic, we couldn't do a video as well, because we want to show and prove to the people where the donations went, how High River support Mexicans, and how the Rotarians here in High River, plus the International Rotary Club, plus Mexican Rotarians, were working together to rebuild communities. So I think it's really important to continue for this path and find a way to support better our community. And the way that we were thinking this time is through the videos. And using the logo is very powerful, because I mentioned in my report that a lady from Mexico just had a husband with a really bad accident. So she get in contact with me through Facebook, and I said, where did you find about us? How? And she said, well, I saw your video, and because we got the Vitaly grant, we were allowed to use the High River logo. And she said, as soon as I saw the logo, I knew that my husband was in that part. And he was really bad injured in Calgary Hospital, in the Foothills Hospital. So the connection started growing because we are a connection with our own government, with the community, Mexican community, and now we want to create this communication and bridge with you, because we cannot use the logo if we are not having the authorizations coming from you. And I think it's really important to show that this tool that we got, Spanish speakers, it's powerful, because when we prove that there's Mexican community here and supporting the businesses, we invite already people to come. That's my idea, to use the businesses for our project that in this November is going to take place, to film a movie and use all the businesses interested in participate as locations to show exactly what we got. And the logo, it is come to High River, visit High River. We only need you because High River has it all. That's the idea. Because I found High River a very multicultural and beautiful community. So if we can continue for that path, I think we're gonna do amazing things together. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth, and thanks, Georgina. So there's basically two asks coming out of this, and one is a financial ask for this iPhone. That one I'm going to ask that you go through our CVAC committee for that funding. That's exactly where those applications are made, and that's the committee that decides on the organizations. And Elizabeth, I understand you're familiar with that, with the CVAC process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that one goes through them. And then as far as the use of the logo, now we do have to be a little bit careful with how our logo is used and in what video. So when we do that, one of my concerns is that it would involve, every time you post a video, it would involve the town of High River having to vet that video to make sure everything's appropriate and aligns up with our stuff. I'm lacking a word there. So that one I would probably direct Chris with comms to try to figure out whether that works, because it would mean a little bit more work on your guys' part, and whether you want to have the town vetting all your videos every time you go to post them, right? Might be a bigger pain than what it's worth for you. So, but let's just work on that, and we'll get Chris and our comms team to review that and decide what direction, if that has to come back to council for our approval to see where we're going with that. Then we just need to be very careful with everything that goes out on videos nowadays. So does that sound fair?
Well, I understand. My idea is going to the businesses and chat with the business owner and talk about the products and everything, right?
Yeah, and that's up to each individual.
You have your
Yeah, that's up to each individual business whether they wish to participate, right? And that's up to them whether they share their logos and everything else with you. So no, that's 100% fair and separate from the town. So I commend you on doing that. Any questions from councillors? I see none, I hear none. So CVAC for the iPhone money, go through that process, and then we'll get Chris on working with comms as far as the use of the town logo. Is that fair?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, yes.
Okay. Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks, Georgina.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one, item 6.1, unaudited operating budget financial performance. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. The recommendation that's before you this afternoon is to Sorry about that, everyone. The recommendation is before you this afternoon is to allocate additional surplus funding into our reserve accounts, as well as into our STEP program for staff increases back to January 1st, 2022. As the resolution outlines, part of this surplus will be allocated to our tax stabilization reserve of $309,000 for 2020 from 2021. This will help reduce the utility diversion that has been historically being directed to the recreation facility and continue supporting recreation from that perspective. In addition, we would see another $200,000 of net surplus reallocated to the water utility reserve and the same for wastewater services. The RCMP will see another $223,000 added of surplus into their general municipal reserve as part of the RCMP retroactive payment system. The majority of this revenue has come from additional revenues from higher investment income, $470,000 in particular, through an improved investment management strategy with our bankers, increased revenue from higher safety codes revenue and building permit issuance, savings from salaries and wages and benefits for unfilled staff vacancies, and then net savings from other various expense categories throughout the budget. This kind of looks at about almost $892,000 to reserves plus the RCMP reserve contribution as well. So based upon that, staff are recommending this money be allocated as well as the steps be reinstituted for 2022. Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thanks, Chris. And just to be clear, the STEP program, that is only for this year while you're rebuilding that program, basically.
That would be correct.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kinghorn.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Appreciate the report, Chris. Just a question with respect to the RCMP payback. What is that total? Do we know what that total amount is right now? And is this making a big dent in it, or is it just covering it off for this year?
On the retro pay, Councillor Kinghorn? Yeah, I'll have to get back. I don't know the exact number, but it would be making I wouldn't say a substantial dent, but a dent within that retro pay aspect of things and planning for a future. But I'll get back to you on the exact number.
No further questions from council. Ask for a motion from Council Jones. Sorry, I'm just. Can you turn your mic off? Thank you. I got about 4 different mics coming in the headset here. There's the other one. Thanks, Chris. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Jones that council receive administration's report on the unaudited operating budget financial performance report for the year ended December 31st, 2021, and that council approve reinstituting the STEP program for the 2022 calendar year by allocating $85,000 from the annual surplus, and the council authorize admin to transfer the sum of $309,000 as part of a net surplus for the 2021 fiscal year to a tax stabilization reserve to reduce the impact of the funding diversion from utilities, and the council authorize administration to transfer the sum of $200,000 as part of a net surplus for 2021 fiscal year to the water utility reserve, and the council authorize administration to transfer the sum of $75,000 as part of the net surplus for the 2021 fiscal year to the wastewater utility reserve, and the council authorized admin to transfer the sum of $223,000 as part of the net surplus for the 2021 fiscal year to the general municipal reserve for the 2022 portion of the RCMP retroactive payment.
Can you repeat that, please? No, I'm just kidding. I'll give you that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Well played. No. Any questions from council on that lengthy motion from Councillor Jones that didn't have to read it? So all in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. 2021 audited financial statements presentation. I think we got Will, Laney, and Hannah here. There's Will. Yeah, you there, Will?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. You bet. The floor is yours, so you go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So I'm Will Zobel. I'm the partner with BDO, who's over the audit of the town of High River. And I've got with me Lena. She was the senior manager on the job. So she reviewed the details of the file, and if we get too technical and too much detail, perhaps Chris and Lena can help answer some of those questions. So I guess with the change, we didn't really get our T's crossed about who's going to show the financial statements on screen. Was someone there going to do that, or did you need us to do that?
If you guys have the presentation handy, we would prefer if you shared your screen. If not, I can pull that up.
Okay, Lena, I think someone will need to give authorization to Lena to be able to share her screen.
I do believe she should be able to share her screen.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. So we'll go to the audit report. So we'll start off by just talking about the audit report. So this year, when we looked over the financial statements, you'll see in note 18, part B, there's a note that says, and I'll just read it here so we don't need to forward to it. It says, the employees of the town are allowed to accrue sick leave to a maximum of 17 weeks. The amount was not recorded in the financial statements and is required under public sector accounting standards 3255. The amount of accrued sick leave is not paid out to employees when they leave their position. So when we get into what the handbook or the accounting standards require, when you have sick time that accumulates or vests, there needs to be a calculation to figure out what the potential liability is. And it's quite a complex calculation. It involves getting an actuary. So it's beyond what our skills are. So you need an actuary to come in, and they look at all kinds of statistics and use and whatnot, and they determine the liability through actuary techniques, and they come up with a liability that is an estimate. And what we would do is upon receipt of that, we would look at the assumptions and we would audit the assumptions, usually have conversations with the actuary, and we'd come to a conclusion if what that liability is. So in this case, nothing has been recorded. We know that it's been listed as a contingency in the past, but we don't have the knowledge to estimate what that liability might be. So in our opinion, so the second paragraph, in our opinion, except for the effects of the matter described in the basis for qualified opinions section of our report, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the town as at December 31st, 2021, and its results of its operations, changes in net financial assets, and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. Basis for qualified opinions. So this paragraph right here just explains to you what I just went probably in a little more detail on, and probably in a little more plain English than what how that paragraph reads. But essentially, we don't know what that liability is because of the way it's calculated. We could do a rough and dirty calculation just based on the numbers, but that's not the way that it's calculated for accounting standards purposes. So at this point, we need to qualify the report for that. Any questions on the audit report? Everything else is clean, that's the only item that makes us qualify the report.
Thanks, Will. Any questions from council? Councillor Smith?
Thank you, Mayor. Do I need to turn on the other microphone? Or are we, yes? Are we okay? Al, you can hear me? Yeah, okay. I guess I just wanted to know, what is the typical time frame once you find an actuary to do this, to finalize everything?
It's an actuary isn't cheap. I believe the last time I got we do have other municipalities that do get actuaries involved to do it, and they need lead time. And I haven't heard a recent cost, but one cost I heard from probably 10 or 15 years ago was $15,000, and then they do a top up every year. So they just adjust it based on new assumptions. So it's usually something that you need to get scheduled months in advance. So by the time we were selected to be your auditors, by then it was probably already too late. And then by the time we got into it and really discovered the issue, there was the time frame that you need to deal with that is more than we had.
Thank you.
Did I give enough information about the handbook requirements? Because I do have the handbook here if people want a little more information about how what's involved and how complicated it is.
No, I think we're okay, Will, because Chris did give us a little briefing on some of this stuff. So,
excellent.
Yeah, so we're good there. And then, so this will get directed back to Chris and the finance team to start moving through those procedures with actuary and everything else. So I don't have any other questions from councillors, so I think we're all good. This presentation is for information only, so it's all in Chris's hands on that end from here, so you can continue on.
Excellent. So if Chris, if you do need some names and whatnot, we do have other municipalities who do get actuarial valuations on this stuff, so we can provide some more information. So going on to the actual numbers. So we'll start off with the statement of financial position, which is your balance sheet. So this is a snapshot of the organization as at December 31st, 2021. So as we go through this, what we'll do is we'll kind of look at what happened in 2020 compared to 2021 for things that stick out. It's a good way to have an indication of what happened during 2021. So as we go through the financial assets, so cash has gone down $4 million. As we go through the numbers, you'll kind of see why cash is down, but some of the bigger items, deferred revenue, for instance, and liabilities went from 36 million to 30 million. So there's a decrease of over $6 million there. So that's a $6 million use of cash. So that accounts for a lot of it. And since we're on that one, I believe there was 12 million of deferred revenue that was spent during 2021, and an additional $7 million of new funds that went into deferred revenue. So what deferred revenue is it's revenue that hasn't been spent yet, and it's earmarked for a specific purpose. And if you don't use it for that specific purpose, it needs to be repaid. So it's usually government transfers, grants, and whatnot that needs to be spent in a certain way. Going back up to financial assets, the rest of the receivables and investments is somewhat similar to the prior year. So we have 74 million ending at the end of 2021 compared to 78 million in 2020. So a bit of a decrease there. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities. So in 2020, there was $4.1 million owing. At the end of 2021, we're at $2.4 million ending. And a lot of that was from 2020 holdbacks. There was $1.2 million holdbacks, mainly due to construction, roads, fire hall, and those things that were going on in 2020. And a lot of that was being finished up in 2021. Deferred revenue we talked about. And then we have long-term debt and long-term debt decreases from regular debt repayments during the year. As we go down further, we get into the non-financial assets, which are your tangible capital assets, your inventory for consumption, and your prepaid expenses. So the main change there is your tangible capital assets that were built during the year and new purchases during the year. We'll go into a little more depth into that number in a few schedules down. The other inventory and prepaid expenses did not have material changes, so most of that would be just any change there would be due to timing. So we come to the bottom. The accumulated surplus went from 288 million to 296.6 million at the end of 2021. And we will go into more depth into what is made up in those numbers. Any questions on the statement of financial position? Okay. Going on to the next page, page 5. Page 5, statement of operations. So we've got, when we look at big picture, revenue very close to the same between 2 years. Both were really close to 35 million and a budget of 31 million. When we look at reasons for those changes, the big numbers that jump out was in 2020, there was a large $2 million gain in investment income. So that you'll see that go from 3.3 million down to 1.4 million. In user fees and sales of goods, we saw an increase of $235,000 in utilities due to the rec facility, and the description I have here is movie. I'm assuming there must have been some sort of movie or something that happened at the town that ended up with higher cost utilities. Lena, you lost your screen. Okay. Okay, so those are the main changes in total revenue. As you go into the expense side, again, we go from 34 million total revenue in 2020 to 35 million in 2021. So an increase of about $1 million. And some of those changes over the year are the cost of flood repairs in the year, so that we had about $770,000 in those types of expenses. And of course, a lot of those funds are coming to a close now, so those costs are winding down. In transportation costs, there were $1.2 million in utility relocation costs. So that's why your transportation services are up quite a bit. In FCSS, we see a decrease in those costs, and some of those are again due to the grants being spent from the Red Cross, and the need for those ending during the year. Another big change was Parks and Recreation. When we look at the amount spent, 4.2 million compared to the prior year and to budget. Prior year, there were larger repairs and projects going on. In 2021, there was a lot more salaries being budgeted, and due to COVID, the need for those salaries were not realized as COVID continued through 2021. So those are the highlights of the changes in income statement. We end up with an excess of revenues over expenses of 8.5 million compared to the budget of 3 million. And then last year we had an excess of 25 million. And then that gets grouped together with your prior year accumulated surplus to give us 296 million at the end of the year. Any questions on any of those numbers that I didn't go over? Okay, we will jump to page 8. Page 8 is Schedule 1. It's the schedule of changes in accumulated surplus. Okay, so what this goes into how your surplus accounts are I guess the components of the different surplus accounts adding up to that $296 million. So your unrestricted surplus starts at 5.6 million and ends at 6.7 million. So the change in surplus over the year is $1 million. And what happens is in your unrestricted surplus, there's a whole bunch of transfers ins and outs that occur that give you the differences in the restricted surplus and the equity and tangible capital assets. So I'll go over kind of what happens in each of those, and then the impact is on unrestricted surplus. So internally restricted surplus goes from 30 million to $34 million during the year. So these are your reserves. So $5.5 million was set aside for specific purposes by council in the future. So these are restrictions that the municipality puts upon itself. So it's money that's been set aside for specific purposes. And then there was 1.7 million that was used for other purposes, capital assets, or things that were purchased in operating that was probably outside the budget, and decided to pay from reserves. So every time the council does a motion to pay for something out of reserves, that's where this comes in. That's where we get these transfers in and out of reserves. The next column, equity and tangible capital assets. So what equity and tangible capital assets is, it's your net ownership of an asset. It's the amount of equity that you have in your tangible capital assets. So if you take your net book value, which is your cost of your capital assets, less the accumulated amortization, and then you subtract from that the debt remaining on your tangible capital assets, you will get your equity in TCA, which is where we're at for the 255 million. And again, all those transfers come in and out of the unrestricted surplus. So that leaves us with that ending balance of $296 million. If you go to note 13 on page 23, this is your note that talks about the specific reserves. So here's a list of all your reserves for the year and the changes. So you have the 2020 in one column, and then 2021 in the next column, which shows the 30 million to 34 million. And so the main increases are in administration, water utility, and sanitary sewer utility for future projects that are being planned there. If we jump back to Schedule 2, we can get into the changes in tangible capital assets in the year. So in here we see that there was $11 million in acquisition of tangible capital assets during the year, and then we had a chunk of that, a net of $157,000 that goes into construction in progress. And accumulated amortization for the year is 7.2 million, which is the amortization expense for the year. So your net book value at the end of the year goes from 259 million to 262 million. If you jump to Schedule 5, Note 12, or sorry, page 12. These are your expenses by object. So these numbers all reconcile back to the income statement. So this shows you the income statement shows your expenses by function. This schedule presents your expenses by object. So now we can see, for example, what total payroll was in the town for the year. So we discussed most of these changes when we went over the income statement. This just allows you to look at what's happened during the year through a different lens. Anyone have any specific questions about this one? Any numbers jump out? Okay. The next 2 pages are your segment disclosure. So Schedule 6. So this one, it breaks down your revenues and expenses by object and by function. So it really details out where you're spending your money in a grid presentation, and it reconciles back to your income statement. So again, another way to take a deep dive into your numbers and where you're spending your money and where you're getting your money from. Now, the rest of the financial statement provides more information, more details to the numbers that we've already talked about. The notes to the financial statements go into the significant accounting policies of the town, and then the other notes give details to various numbers in the financial statements. Did anyone have any questions about any of the notes or any of the financial statements? No? Okay, so that's kind of the nuts and bolts of your financial information for the year. If there's anything that people would like us to, since you got us here and you want us to talk about anything else in relations to the financial statements, we'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions from council? Comments? As usual, I'm sitting here Googling half of the stuff you're saying, so should remember what it was so that I understand.
Well, I'm happy to answer.
I'll be very honest about that.
I'm happy to answer any questions if you need anything explained. Or
I don't have no questions from council. So.
Okay.
So I think the one that we're rewinding and working on is the one that Chris is going back with the actuaries and moving forward on that. Okay.
Okay. So we did send an email to Chris with the balance sheet. I was going to bring hard copy of the financial statements to get to actual signatures today, but given circumstances, I guess we'll wait for next year for that. So Chris, we did email you the balance sheet that we'll need signed. If you can get that signed today if you've got some accounts all together. Otherwise, you can get it back to us as soon as you can get it signed. And so if you have any questions about that, you can give us a shout.
We can get that done today. So.
Excellent.
He didn't nod at me though when I said that. So see where that ends up. Shouldn't be a problem though. Is that everything?
I just also want to mention, we're thankful for Chris and Leanna and the team. It was a lot of work, but it was good work. We got our questions answered and people were quite pleasant to work with. So it was excellent.
Excellent.
We appreciate that.
It's municipal finances, so it's a complicated web.
Yes.
Question. No questions from council. We'll move on. Thanks very much, Will.
Okay, can we get an approval?
I've got it as information only. Do we need an approval on here? As a motion? Is that what you're looking for, Will?
Yes, we should have them approved so that we can issue them.
Okay, well, that's different than what we've done in the past. So
Oh, what have you done in the past?
just receive them for information.
Oh,
But we
okay.
can do a motion if you wish.
Yeah, so the way the handbook reads is those charged with governance, which is council, needs to take ownership of the statements and approve the statements for us to get an audit report date and to issue the statements.
So we'll draft a motion or get a motion, council to adopt a motion today to approve the statements.
Okay, perfect.
You guys draft that motion and then we'll come back to it at the end of the meeting to clean that up for Will, if that's what he needs.
Yeah,
Sure.
and then Chris, if you wouldn't mind sending me an email once they're approved, that would be fantastic.
We will do that.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Will. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Lena. You just send that to me in a Teams. Then we'll get it sorted out. Project management support, Riley. We're on Zoom. You can do it right from where you're sitting. Yeah, it would. You're gonna have to pack everything up, so you do it right from there. Unmute.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here before you to request for additional project management resources in the form of a 0.7 full-time equivalent, which is salary and wage. Historically, the town has run a large number of projects. We still have a large number on the books going forward, and to be able to better deliver these, additional resources would help that. We do contract in a fair bit of support with project manager firms, and while they provide typically very specialized support, some of it is general in nature and could be provided by this role. We're looking to overall improve our project delivery, reduce costs, and reduce timelines on projects. It will also help with some of the increased requirements when you look at trade agreements, as well as postings and procurement with APC. This is similar to what we have seen in terms of increased legislation with health and safety. And so there is some work in that regards. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
So this is for an in-house staff member?
Correct.
Correct? Right.
Yes.
Handling more project management in-house. It's really odd, but Councillor Nychuk has his hand up on this one.
You don't want, you want the question, or?
Oh, no, I want the question.
You're all right. I guess I got a number of them. Let's start with, what are they project managing?
You mean in terms of projects?
Yeah, obviously we need it. I know you need it. I know, you know, that it's here for. So is there a dedicated set, or I guess in your explanation, you kind of said it was a little bit all over the place. Do you have anything earmarked for this person in particular, or it's, you just know you need the human capacity to get the stuff done?
We need the resources. I could give some examples. So for example, having an internal resource to help departments other than engineering. So for example, we had some support, external support for the writing the RFP and contracts for the snow contract. And so that's something we could move in-house with this kind of resource.
All right. Then on the number side, thanks for that, Riley. Is 87.5 the full year salary? Am I understanding that correctly? When you referenced $87,500, that's would be if it was a full-time position, not a 0.7.
No, that's 0.7 for a full year.
That's 0.7 for. Sorry.
The
Maybe I'm-
66 is prorated because we're already at almost May.
Yeah, so yeah, 87.5 is the full year. That would be a full year salary.
Yes,
And then you're prorating it.
but
So,
the position is not a full FTE, it's a 0.7.
so you're taking 0.7 of 87.5, and then you're going to take a percentage of that whenever this person starts. I'm not. I was just trying to follow the math.
So this position will work reduced hours, so it's not a full FTE.
Yeah.
And so the 87.5 does the full year for that.
For that 0.7.
Correct.
Okay. So then you came in and it said it's $66,000 in salary, but that would be actually
for this year.
Yeah, a starting date of when?
Be May 1st, I guess.
So then that's 8 months and not 9 months, right? Because 9
You're
months
right.
would be 75%, and 8 months would be 0.666 repeating percent. So it's really not 66,000 you're looking for, it's 58,275.
You're correct.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So does there need to be an amendment on that motion, Riley?
Yes.
And what's the number? The
Well,
motion's not on the floor yet, so.
I'll have to do the math real quick. Oh, Nicole's doing it.
Councillor Kinghorn?
Michael's got it already. I can tell by his smile.
Councillor Nytruk, do you have the number already? It saved me doing the math.
Well, if you trust my math, I've got it. If we're going 8 months starting, if we're starting May 1st, then we go 58,275 for a round number.
However, Mayor Snodgrass, that wasn't my question.
Go ahead, Jamie.
My question is to Riley again. So you're asking for, this is a full time, or sorry, a 0.7 this year, next year, and ongoing, right? This is an amendment to our org chart, essentially.
Correct.
This isn't just a fill-in gap to fill in for this year to take off all of these, deal with all these projects we got going on.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So the number is 58,275. Is that right? And sorry, just explain, come back, Michael, explain that to me, because I was trying to write this motion down that we got to rewind to. So where is the new number coming from?
The new number is just a fact of that there was just a miscalculation in the total number of months that this person will work when they start. So assuming that the start is going to be on May 1st, Riley or whoever in Riley's team had calculated it being 9 months, but the start date would really be 8 months because they're not working the month of April. They're going to start in May.
Gotcha.
So then it's just a smaller number because there was just a month there. They just added a month instead of, yeah. And I guess there's the point of hopefully, well, maybe you do have somebody lined up already that you're sliding into the spot. You're not looking for them. You've got, so.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Michael.
It could be the 8 months plus a day or whatever, wherever Riley onboards this person. So.
Right. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Salary of this 0.7 position.
Can you unmute?
87.5.
Thank you.
No further questions? I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk. The council approve the request for operational budget amendment for 2022 for additional salary and wage budget in the amount of $58,275 for additional project management support, and that council approve an additional 0.7 full-time equivalent for project management support to be factored into future budgets.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make that motion for you.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion carries. Thanks, Riley. Thanks for the catch, Councillor Nychuk. Parks Maintenance Contract Award. Darlene, is she online with us? There she is.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here this afternoon to present the results of the Parks Maintenance Contract request for proposals and a recommendation for the successful proponent for said contract. The town of High River requires seasonal parks maintenance services consisting of natural grass and turf mowing and trimming, as well as associated litter collection and removal for approximately 304 acres of town-owned parks and green spaces. The parks and green spaces are each assigned a classification of either A, B, C, or D, and each class is assigned a target number of maintenance services per week, month, or season. The actual number of maintenance services required will vary depending on weather and other factors and will be at the direction of High River. The pre-existing parks maintenance contract expired in October 2021, and as a result, on February 15th, 2022, a new RFP was issued for these parks maintenance services for a term of 3 years with an option to renew for an additional 2 years. The closing date of the March 15th, 2022 resulted in 6 proposals. After review and evaluating all submissions, Farm Boy Landscaping was identified as the preferred contractor with a contract price of $243,358.68. As part of the selection process, the evaluation team identified evaluation criteria based on the maximum benefit for the town. The determination to proceed with Farm Boy Landscaping is based on the following factors: demonstrate a clear understanding of the scope and requirements, provided example of capacity and staffing model to meet the delivery of the contract, provided a detailed schedule to meet the expected timelines for the contract, additional landscaping and maintenance services available, and the pricing proposal within the allocated budget. The award of this contract to Farm Boy Landscaping is beneficial to the town with their past experience maintaining the town green spaces, clear understanding of the scope, detailed work plan, and pricing within budget allocated for these services. It is therefore recommended that council approve the award of the parks maintenance contract to Farm Boy Landscaping for a term of 3 years with an option to renew for an additional 2 years. Can answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Darlene. Questions from council? See none, I hear none. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Walsh that council authorize the award for the parks maintenance contract to Farm Boy Landscaping for a 3-year term in the amount of $243,358.68, exclusive of GST, and that council authorize the CAO to execute the contract with Farm Boy Landscaping.
I'd be happy to give you that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Darlene. I'm going to rewind for a second and get back to finish up so that Will and BDO have what they need. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Smith that council receive and approve the 2021 audited financial statements as presented by BDO and authorize the mayor to sign the approval for BDO.
I will give you that motion, Mayor.
Very much. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And we'll go to item 6.5, selecting Volunteer of the Year Award recipients. Kieran.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. The annual Volunteer of the Year Awards are an opportunity for the town to recognize and thank all of the volunteers in High River. The town of High River selects Volunteer of the Year awards on an annual basis for multiple categories, including youth, adult, senior, and business. This year, there are 28 nominations that were received across the 4 categories in accordance with the Volunteer of the Year policy. There was some confusion during nominations regarding which category to select for a group, such as a nonprofit organization. To resolve this confusion, administration is recommending that council amend the Volunteer of the Year policy to include a definition of group and amend the business category to be read as business or group. In accordance with the Volunteer of the Year policy, council chose the category award winners in an anonymous and unbiased manner, including the redaction of both the names and genders of each nominee. Council chose to award the 2021 Volunteer of the Year awards to the following individuals. For the youth category, there's Kenda Elwin. Adult category, Jeff Hamilton. Senior category, Bruce Beauchamp. And business or group category, the High River Meals on Wheels. I'm now open to any questions from Mayor or Council.
Who is the name for the youth category, please, Karen?
Kenda Elwin.
Okay, thank you. Questions from council? See none, hear none. Ask for a motion from Councillor Jones that council amend the Volunteer of the Year policy, Leg-Serve POL 107-00 to include a definition of group and amend the business category to include business or group, and that council award the 2021 Volunteer of the Year awards to the following individuals. The youth category to Kenda Alwyn, adult to Jeff Hamilton, senior Bruce Beauchamp, and the business or group to Meals on Wheels.
I'll give you that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion carries. Thanks very much, Karen. It's a lot of work. Board and committee reports, any correspondence council wants to share? See none, I hear none. Public comments, Jody? None. Council correspondence requiring action. So High River Healthcare Heroes Proclamation request. This is one that we do on a yearly basis. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Barton that mayor and council authorize the mayor to sign the High River Healthcare Heroes Proclamation.
Yeah, my motion, Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. BGCF on art grant reveal invitation. This is just an invite. Last two are, yeah. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk that mayor and council will take the invitation into consideration, and that if mayor or any council are planning on attending, they will notify administration to inform BGC Foothills clubs.
Make that motion for you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And then the District 4 convention. Ask for a motion from Councillor Jones because it fits. That mayor and council will take the invitation into consideration, and that if mayor or council are planning on attending, they will notify administration to inform the District 4 cadets.
I'll give you that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. An invitation to partner with the High River Healthcare Foundation for the 34th Annual High River Healthcare Dinner and Auction. Again, this is something that we do every year, being a premier sponsor. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Walsh, the Mayor and Council direct administration to partner. Actually, hang on. No, I'm going to get a motion from Councillor Kinghorn because he's feeling lonely in the basement right now. So I don't want you to feel left out. And
well, thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I appreciate the recognition, and I would be pleased to give you the motion.
Keeping your 100% attendance alive and well too. Yeah. Way to go. So ask for a motion from Councillor Kinghorn that Mayor and Council direct administration to partner with the High River Healthcare Foundation as a premier sponsor, donating a value of $5,000.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I'll be pleased to give you that motion.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Council correspondence, High River Hospital thank you card, program announcement 2022, Communities in Bloom participation. Any further questions from council? See none, I hear none. Meeting adjourned at 4:27 p.m. Thank you very much. Have a good night.